and welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and we've got a couple of citizens we want to talk a little bit about on our shows today. My story is a little bit more tragic. Yours is very uplifting, I would say. Yeah, pretty neat stories today. One I'm really interested in hearing a little bit more about with the research and stuff you've done.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome. But anyway, another beautiful fall day.
It is so pretty out.
It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
Love fall. Love winter. Love November. Love December.
We love the time change.
I'm just a happy camper right now, honestly. Like, it's just...
It is nice to go outside and not have your breath taken away.
The kids are starting to give me their Christmas lists.
Oh, my.
They're on it.
Yeah, because...
They're thinking ahead.
I don't even know how fast time just goes by way too fast anymore.
It does, and I usually shop early. I like to do most of my Christmas shopping on Black Friday. I do most of it online. They're older kids, so they know what they want.
Right.
I know my budget, and I'm like, give me your list. It matches up. Done.
Yeah. Easy breezy. So, like, you will actually go to a store on Black Friday?
I used to love that, but I don't do much of that anymore because I don't really need to. I mean, with the online shopping, it's just too easy.
It really is.
Up until, so last year, I think, was the first year I didn't ever go anywhere on Black Friday shopping. I went, because there for years, I wouldn't go to any big towns. I would go to Effingham on Black Friday.
Right.
I would do Effingham Walmart on Black Friday, but my favorite store to go to on Black Friday was that K&B Toys that was right in front of Kohl's. And they had really good toys that nobody else carried.
What happened to that?
They went out of business. But
I wonder why.
The toys from that place are the things that my kids loved. Like, my kids loved interactive toys that made you think. And we would buy a lot of Magnetiles from there. But yeah, every year that was my Black Friday stop because I would spend a fortune in that store on stuff for my kids. But my kids, I mean...
Now it's getting harder.
Well,
now they're older,
so they don't want stuff like that anyway. But I'm sad that business went out because it was a good one.
It was
a good one. Yeah. I liked their Black Friday sale. And
I like to come across toys that I played with when I was little. Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel like, Black Friday. Now they have Cyber Monday and all that stuff now. I don't mind going Black. Jim and I went once. He never went again. And then I'm going to stay. I always decorate my house that day. The day after Thanksgiving is when all the Christmas decorations go up.
All of my Christmas decorations are already up. But I have not put up a tree yet because we will buy a tree from the Boy Scouts on the day after Thanksgiving. So but
everything else is up. So all your fall stuff is already down?
Oh, yeah.
I love all my fall my mantles. My fireplace looks amazing right now. Just beautiful. So I have a hard time taking it down.
I know. I loved all my fall stuff, too, but...
And I was a little late getting it out. Usually, like, my fall stuff will come right in August, so I'll be able to enjoy it, like, September and October.
Yes.
I was really late. Well, I don't know why.
Well, you're busy, but no, I put my fall stuff up at the end of August.
Yeah.
And then I took it down on the, 3rd or 4th of November. And put up Christmas. Now,
are you one of those people that do you have, like, a little bit of your favorite stuff out all year long?
Christmas stuff?
No, anything. Like, I have a few things for fall that I leave out. I have, like, this really neat witch's hat that I leave out all year long just because I like it.
Oh, well, that's cool.
I just kind of, some things I don't take in.
No, I would say I don't really. But I don't have a lot of decorating space.
Yeah.
Like, my house isn't really that small, but my living room is small. And so then there's just a lot of seating, and then there's just not really, like, a lot of places where I just put decorations. I mean, I have a couple different sections, but... I wouldn't say that I'm like an over decorator.
I like to decorate really well.
Well, you have a beautiful fireplace to decorate. Yeah, my fireplace is in the basement, which is
where do you put your Christmas tree at in your house?
In the corner of the living room.
Do you? Yeah. One thing I miss that I would like for somebody to bring back, and no, I'm not doing it because we're too busy.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
What?
The Christmas home tour?
Yes.
Yes.
I want that back so bad.
The Rotary did that in Flora, and it was a tour, and you could buy tickets. It was a fundraiser for the Rotary, I believe, and you would go to all of these different beautiful homes in Flora and tour them, and people would open their door, let you in. You saw how their home was laid out and
we could
decorated.
Come back because, because not only that, like we meet at the depot. And then we'd have some snacks, and they'd say, okay, these are the places you're going. And you break off in your groups. We went out. We not only visited homes, but we went to, like, to Country Land was open. You know, and all the stores downtown. We've got Pip and Kate and Eagle Station and Angela's. And we got so many stores that could stay open now. Remember, you have some extra deals.
Here again lies the problem, is that no one has a volunteer attitude. No one wants to volunteer for stuff. And I think the Rotary tried to bring it back just a couple years ago, and no one volunteered to open up their home except for one person, and she's sitting right here.
Yeah.
It was you.
It was me.
I think you were the only one that volunteered to do it.
Because I did it years ago, and I loved doing it. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
My house has it's a really neat, and now it's even different than what it was. It's even more open. But I was like, I'll put my house back. Was it a lot of work? Yeah, but my house was never so clean. It sparkled. I had 12 trees up.
Oh, wow.
It was beautiful. I loved it. And now I could even make it better because the house is even a little bit more different than what it was. But no, I would love to do it, and it's just, but I love homes. You and I, we talk about this all the time.
I know, we love homes too. If you love homes, email us. If you're interested in putting your home on a Christmas home tour, we would love to make that happen.
I know. I love it.
It could be a great fundraiser for Nostalgia Theater.
We may have to do that. I don't know.
I hate to steal it from Rotary, though. It's their thing, but they can't get it going again.
Yeah, I wonder what we could do to get that day. There's so many, and there's so many new homes built, and everybody's flipping these houses. What a great, if you've got an Airbnb, what a great way to get people to maybe, you know what I mean?
Come stay there.
Come stay there. It would be awesome. I'm on the fence about that because, you know, Jim and I we bought, our neighbor passed away a couple years ago, and we bought his house, and we've been remodeling. The inside's looking amazing. The outside kind of ran out of money, so we're going to have to wait till next year to fix the outside up. But I'm on the fence with decorating it for Christmas. I don't know why. I don't know if I want to take the time to do my house and that house.
I would not decorate the whole house for Christmas, but you could put a tiny tree up in the corner, a small tree, very simple tree, like a little pencil tree or something.
Ooh, those are my favorite.
Yeah, I love those too.
I love pencil trees.
That way, just in case someone does stay there over the holidays, they have a little tree.
Yeah. I haven't advertised it yet, but my first renter's coming in the week of Thanksgiving, and I'm doing the last minute. I am such a freak about detail that I want it to be perfect, and Jim's like, Stacey, it doesn't have to be perfect, just clean. I'm like, I kind of want it to be perfect.
Well, right, but people really only care about clean.
It is about clean, but we've been working really hard on that house, and I think after I'm going to go home and make sure I got everything done, and I'm getting it decorated, and I mean it looks, I'm really proud of the way it looks.
It's a super cute house too. I loved it.
The layout's fantastic, and it's big. So yeah, I will be advertising my Airbnb and floor here shortly, but yeah, I don't know. I really miss that home tour.
Me too.
I love it.
Do you have an ad today?
I do have an ad, and it's okay.
Okay. What is it?
I just had to. Well, it's a cigarette. It's Lucky Strike.
Oh, back in the day when cigarette companies could advertise. Lucky Strike cigarettes. 20,679 physicians say Luckies are less irritating. It's toasted. Your throat protection against irritation, against cough. Oh,
what on earth is this ad?
Reverse health information. This is smoke a Lucky Strike so that you don't cough.
This is 1920s. I pulled this ad from the 20s.
No kidding.
Yes. Can you believe? So, yeah, I just thought, is that a doctor advertising Lucky Strike cigarettes? He sure is.
What's the fine? I wonder what the fine print says there.
I don't know.
I can't read it.
My eyes are too little. My eyes are too little. I can't see anymore. But yeah, Lucky Strikes have been around for years. But I think your throat protection against irritation against cough. That is an oxymoron, isn't it? Because everybody that smokes has a smoker's cough.
Yeah,
it's toasted. It's toasted. What does that even mean?
I don't know. The tobacco is toasted.
And what does that do for you?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's like coffee beans, and it just gives it a good flavor.
I don't know. Lucky Strike is still around, isn't it? Like real talk. Have you? I am. When I go into like Huck's or I go into Casey's, I'm shocked at all the cigarette brands.
I haven't noticed. I don't pay attention.
Well, I just looked back there the other day, and I was like, man, there are a lot of cigarette brands. And a lot of different kinds.
I knew that there was in the 80s. I mean, I've talked before about the milk store where I grew up, but we sold a lot of cigarettes too. There was a lot of different brands.
Yeah, I mean, I was really...
There were some Marlboros, Newport, Salem, Lucky Strike, Camels.
Yeah. Oh, them old nasty Camels.
Uh-huh.
And what does the filter do for you?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't smoke. I've never... Oh, and I remember back in the day when they would make smoking so sexy. And
yes.
I'm always
the
surprised.
ladies would have their cigarettes on one of those cigarette holders that would be like this long.
I think is super cool.
And like this. And
Yeah.
like, yeah.
You know, I would bring that back, but I would have a candy cigarette in it just so I'd look super cool.
Let's talk about candy cigarettes.
Let's talk about...
Those were good.
Wait, Ty's got something to tell us.
Yeah, they toasted it. They probably removed all the harmful acids.
Oh, by toasting it, they removed all the harmful things, and that was supposed to be healthier. That was their thought train there in the 1920s.
Yeah, didn't work.
Okay, I think it was... Time has told a different story. But
yeah, time tells a different
good try,
story.
Lucky Strike.
Okay, you love candy.
But those candy cigarettes were good. I actually
I
like
love
those.
candy cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
they even had like the little red flame, the little red on the end of it, remember?
Yep.
Where can you even find candy? Can you even get those?
I think they are still around, but I think they're hard to find.
Well, you know, I did find candy cigarettes. You know, have you ever been to Branson?
Yeah, no.
That original, like Branson's downtown has an original dime store.
Oh, they
and it's
have
got
them?
all that old candy in there. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I'll remember that if I go there.
The other thing, I love it when people put like on Facebook and they do like nostalgic things. And I love the, remember the wax lips?
Oh, yeah.
And
I
then
didn't like them, but...
Oh, all that. See, I am okay, I think we've talked about candy during the Halloween.
Yeah, we did. We talked about that already.
I like really chewy. I like my favorite.
Like Laffy Taffy.
I love Laffy Taffy, Milk Duds, Twizzlers.
Raisinets.
No, not Raisinets. That's you and Jim. Tootsie Rolls, the big fat Tootsie Rolls. But like those wax, I would chew. And then like, you remember the little wax bottles that had just a little bit of like a
liquid in it?
Liquid in it. I would chew that thing till my jaw hurt.
Ouch.
I would just chew on that wax. Yeah, I'm a weirdo.
Uh-huh. I know.
I'm a weird, but you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna talk about this beautiful picture behind us.
We sure are.
We'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Jimmy ordered lumber, doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas,
What?
you better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and we are going to talk about this beautiful painting that has ties to our community.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
Kind of, sort of, in
Kind
a
of
way.
Yeah.
So this painting behind me, I bet nearly all of you have seen it before. Many of you may have it in your home or know someone that has it in your home. This particular one behind me hung in my grandparents' house on Sunset Drive in Flora, Pete and Zelda DeVore, until my grandma had an auction and she moved into a smaller apartment. She got rid of some things, and this is one of the things that I got from her in Grandpa's house. She didn't have room for it in the apartment. So this was hers. And this is actually a photograph, and the name of it is called Grace. Okay, it was taken by Eric Enstrom, and it depicts an elderly man, hands folded, saying a prayer over a table with a meal. He has a bowl of soup there, and he has a loaf of bread. And there is a book sitting there that is a Bible, supposedly. It actually, in the photograph, was a dictionary. Most people don't know that because it's supposed to represent a Bible. They apparently did not have one in the studio, so they used a dictionary in its place, but it is, in anything that's written about it, it is called a Bible. It's actually, this was taken in Minnesota. And in 2002, the Minnesota State Legislature made this the state photograph.
Really?
State photograph of Minnesota. So it was originally just a black and white photo. Now, then there's later versions of it that have a second light source. And you can see that this, I think, behind me is a little bit of a later version, because if you look over, Stacey, kind of point to your side there. See how there's a little bit of light coming in that corner there? Yeah. That's like a second version. Okay, the first, and then also a little bit above his head, almost like some light coming in above his head. That's all the second version. The first version was like completely a black background. Okay, and it was a photograph, and it was taken by this Eric Enstrom. Now, his photography studio was in Bovey, Minnesota. Never been there, never heard of it. But most sources indicate the year it was taken was 1918. But his daughter, he has a daughter named Rhoda, and she was born in 1917, and she claims to remember when it was taken. So she says it was closer to 1920. But either way, it doesn't matter. Somewhere between 1918 and 1920, her dad, Eric Enstrom, took this photograph of this man named Charles Wilden. Wilden, Wilden. And this guy, he looks like a lovely grandfather, a good Christian man, but he really was kind of a little bit of a different character. I'm not saying he was a bad character because I don't really know, but he was not. He was a peddler. He was a peddler man. He lived in a sod house, which I think in Minnesota there were a lot of sod houses.
Right. Because,
Little House on the Prairie, Laura lived in one for a little bit. I can bring it into every episode, you guys. But I think their sod house was actually in Kansas. But anyway, sod house. No, it wasn't. It was on the banks of Plum Creek, which was in Minnesota. So it was in Minnesota that she lived in sod house. Yeah. Okay. So this goes on to say that while the photograph conveys a sense of piety to many viewers, according to the Enstrom family story, it was actually a dictionary in the picture, but that Wilden wrote the word Bible on the waiver of rights to the photo. So he actually signed a waiver to the rights for this photo in exchange for payment. So he wanted the money up front. He actually was known by local people to be more of a drinker and not really accomplishing very much, rather than religious man. So, interesting.
That's interesting.
So in 1926, he was paid, Mr. Wilden was paid $5 by Mr.
For this picture.
By Eric Enstrom in return for waiving his rights to the photograph. After he got that $5, he disappeared. The photograph became very popular. Enstrom attempted to track Wilden down, but he couldn't find him. So family members, local historians, there's been a lot of people through the years that tried to track this guy down. They had his name, tried to track him down. What happened to him? Did he die? Did he pass away? Is he buried around here? Is he alive? Is he moved to California? Where'd he go? No one really ever found him. The dude just disappeared. So
That's really
okay. So then Enstrom, the man that owned the photograph, he's the one that took it. He licensed it to Augsburg Publishing House in 1930. So
Okay.
about 10 years after it's taken, he licensed it over to a publishing company, and they make a lot of copies of it, and it becomes very popular, a bestseller of sorts for people to use in their home. In the 1940s, his daughter Rhoda, who I mentioned earlier, her name was Rhoda Nyberg, she colorized the photo by hand. So originally it was black and white. You can see my version is kind of more a little sepia. The bread and his skin has a little bit more of a beige tone to it. Okay, so this one is post 1940 here, where she colorized the photo by hand. This version was featured in prints produced during the 1940s onward and became the most widespread and popularly known version of the photo. Okay, so Enstrom did earn some money from it. He earned a modest sum, it says, from up until his death in 1968.
So the man that took the picture died in 1968,
and he earned money.
Sold it to the publishing company.
And then he earned money up until 1968 from it.
Right,
royalties.
I'm assuming,
royalties.
yeah.
After he died, though, I don't think his daughter. It doesn't say that she was able to get the royalties. The company probably was just like, then from that point on, we keep any money made from it. But I'm going to go on to talk about her a little bit. She died in 2012. This Rhoda Nyberg. Let's see.
She so the daughter just died in 2012.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's one of the most reproduced pictures of the 20th century. Wow. But the Rhoda, the daughter, she went on to take the photograph and paint it. So some versions that you will see are maybe look more like a painting, and that is because the portrait was painted by Rhoda later in Bovey, Minnesota. She later painted it in oils. They named it. Charles Wilden was the man that was in it. He was a peddler, and he sold foot scrapers. That's what he sold. No wonder he made a meager living.
What?
A foot scraper.
Well, okay, so
what do you do? You scrape the mud off your feet instead of taking a shower at night?
I don't know, but how did they even meet? Is
they
there a backstory?
They lived in the same town. I mean, he probably was just looking for a man to, will you pose for this photo? I'm going to have you pray over a table and take your picture. You know, he had an idea. It says that Enstrom was in the midst of preparing a portfolio of photos for the upcoming Minnesota Photographers Association convention. And Wilden agreed to be photographed. Enstrom arranged a table with a bread, a knife, a bowl of gruel. I called it soup, but a bowl of gruel. What is that, like oatmeal or something?
Probably.
Some type of cereal. Spectacles and a Bible, and he asked Wilden to bow in prayer. And, yeah.
That's an interesting.
He said he wanted to take a picture that would show people that even though they had to do without many things because of the war, they still had much to be thankful for.
I like that.
That's sweet. So if you ever see one that's an actual painting, that's probably worth money, because that is not just a print of a painting, but the actual painting. That would be from his daughter. She made numerous paintings of the original photo. So there's more than one out there. She copied it many times in oil paint.
Right.
But the original was actually a photograph. Her dad was a photographer. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, you guys have probably, if you've seen this photo, you've maybe seen a companion photo.
Yes, I have seen the companion photo.
It is a woman.
Yes.
And she is also sitting at the table. I think we have a picture. Ty, can you pull up the picture I have here of the companion?
There it is,
wedding? Yeah, right in front of her. Okay, so she's got her Bible open, her spectacles there, and then she has her food on a plate there beside her, and like a pitcher of milk or something. Okay, so this was not taken by Eric Enstrom, but this is taken by a man named Jack Garren, Garren, and he owned the Christian bookstore in Centralia, Illinois. So that's actually in our viewing area. So it's not local to Clay County, but it is local to our viewing area. Mm-hmm. And it was taken in the 1960s. And Jack Garren named this photo Gratitude. Oh. So Grace is the original. This is Gratitude. They both became very popular, and a lot of people hung them side by side in their homes. I actually saw both of them at Country Closet about 6 months ago before I researched any of this, and I could kick myself. I really wanted to buy the companion piece, but I did not need the other one because I wanted to hang these together. But I could not separate the two that were there together. I'm weird. I know they're just paintings. I know they don't have feelings. But it was sad to take these two that had been side by side forever apart. And only by the woman.
Now, did your grandma not have the woman?
No, she didn't. Not that I know of. She didn't have the woman. So that makes me think that Grandma and Grandpa bought this painting sometime between 1940 and 1960. Because they didn't have the woman. The woman came later. It wasn't taken until the 1960s. And this is a second version of this. Grandma, she's probably watching. She can tell me exactly when she bought it, I bet.
Exactly.
Okay, so the woman in this picture is Mrs. Myrtle Copple, Copple. Okay, she passed away in 1975. And she is buried over by kind of in between Woodlawn, Illinois, and Dix, Illinois. Right out there in the country in a small country cemetery is where she's buried. You guys could always look her up on findagrave.com if anyone's ever interested in driving by her grave. It's there. She's listed, and this painting is actually her portrait on the app that you can do that's a common app what people use to research history.
Find a Grave is actually.
Find a Grave.
Let's take a quick commercial break and we'll come back and I'll tell you a little bit of a story about my neighbors who had that when I was a little girl in their house.
Okay, all right.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend, and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting, and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're talking about two photographs, paintings, Grace and Gratitude. We have Grace there behind us. Ty, you might go ahead and pull Gratitude back up. We're going to continue to talk about her for a moment.
Yeah, so my story is when I was a little girl, we had a couple older neighbors, and for the life of me, I can't remember their names, and they just lived two doors down. The house is still there. They live 2 doors down to the north of my house on South Locust. As a little girl, I loved these old people, and they always had a garden. I would go help and pick their garden with
Every
them.
kid needs some loving older people next door, don't they?
I have 2 regrets in my life, and this is one of them. Well, so I would go over there and play. I have a picture, like you remember, like the Barbie head that you could paint. There's a picture of me sitting out on in their grass at their picnic table with my Barbie head, because I would take my Barbies over, and this older couple would play with me. I remember going in their house, and they had both these pictures in their dining room. And I remember the older man, and he would talk to me about the importance of what I was seeing. I wasn't raised in a church. My parents, I have 2 older sisters, and when everything changed when I came along. I always make jokes about it, because when Diane and Linda were there, they went to church. My mom didn't work, but then everything changed in the 60s. After I was born, my mom had to go to work, and then we quit going to church. So I was not raised in a church.
Okay.
This is like literally, these pictures are the very first, what would I say? Introduction to religion.
Oh.
To Christianity, these 2 pictures.
Wow.
And it made a
big,
and I was probably 5 or 6. So I remember these pictures. And I remember that older man, we were sitting there, I'll never forget, we were sitting at their dining room table, and we were eating soup and bread.
Oh.
And they prayed before they were eating. And I remember just as a little girl being taken back by these 2 pictures. And those people explained to me the beginning of Christianity.
Wow.
Okay. So I remember I played with them all the time. Then I turned into a teenager. Okay.
And you didn't go back over there, and that's your regret?
My biggest regret in the world, in the entire world, if I could go back, and I need to find out who these older people were. And I remember, I remember they'd sit out. They had a front porch that was screened in, and I would drive by, honk and wave, and they'd sit there and they just wave to me as I went by. My biggest regret is not
spending time with them.
Spending time with that older couple.
Well, if that's the biggest regret you got in your life, you're doing pretty good.
It is.
But,
it is by far.
I understand that, though.
Yeah, it breaks my heart knowing that I did that now, being older and having kids. I do. That is my biggest regret, is turning into a teenager and not being. And then then they passed away, and then they passed away when I was a young adult, and I'm just like, I can't believe that if I could go back and find where those 2 pictures are, I would pay whatever it took to get those 2 pictures.
They were at Country Closet 6 months ago.
It could have been, but you know what I'm saying? So it was, that's like when I came across this story, and I came across, Rena Lentz had done a story on it, and I was like, and I mean, it was just a big impact on me. So like I said, these 2 pictures are my first introduction to Christianity.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My introduction to Christianity and my biggest regret in life. And I can still close my eyes and see myself driving by and my 2-tone maroon Buick Regal, 79 Buick Regal, just going by honking and waving. And they just smile and wave back.
Well, at least they knew that you liked them and you waved. And
I know. Yeah, I love those old people. And I don't think they may have had a, gosh, I'm going to have to do some research on that
or not. We might have a whole show there we could do about them.
Yeah, I'm going to have to research that.
Yeah. Huh.
I could go back because the house is still there. I could find out too.
Oh, sure you could.
Yeah. I might do that.
Well, you should also ask your older sisters, because maybe they know who they were.
I will. I'll ask Diane and Linda.
They might know.
But see, the thing about it is Diane and Linda, they're like 5 and 9 years older than me. So Diane moved to Panama City Beach when I was like 10.
I know, but they might have known the names of the people that lived there.
Yeah, they might.
Maybe their kids were their ages.
Okay.
You never know.
I'm going to research. But anyway, so that's my little 2 cents, and that's why I think this is just such a neat.
Yeah, that's good 2 cents. Yeah. I love having older people be a neighbor when you're a kid. Like my kids have had some neighbors that that are older and they love, and it's just nice to have that relationship. When I was a kid, I had a wonderful older lady that lived by us, and then even after we moved away from that house, I kept in contact with her, and I just loved her like a grandma. Her name was Wanda Miketa, and I just love her. I miss her every day. So it's good.
Yeah, it is good.
They were kind of an influence on you.
They
Wanda Miketa, I don't know if she had these pictures in her house, but she had Dum Dum Suckers. And she always would offer me one, and then in the summer she had popsicles, the kind that were in the plastic tube, and every time she would say, "What color would you like?" and every time I would say, "Green." I wanted the lime.
Nobody wants lime green suckers.
Me, I did.
Well, I can see that. I had to pick cherry every
Good
time.
memories. Okay.
To this day. Okay, back to the story.
Let's talk about gratitude.
Let's keep going to gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude. This is how it came to be. So Grace was a favorite thing to buy in this Christian bookstore that this guy ran. Jack Guerin owned the Christian bookstore. Well, actually, there was another bookstore, Dixon's. And it was owned by a man named Edmund Dixon, and he was president of this company, and Grace was the bestseller there, and he decided it needed a companion portrait. So he began searching for an elderly woman who would make an appropriate subject, and he had nearly 1,000 photographers submit pictures, and they were all rejected because it lacked something that Dixon was looking for. And so then one day he mentioned his search to Jack Guerin, who owned the religious bookstore in Centralia. And Guerin immediately said, "I know where she is."
Really?
I know where she is. For years, relatives of Guerin's grandmother, Mrs. Myrtle Koppel, this lady, had remarked they had been telling her that the old man in Grace looked like her father, Henry Chapman. So they would say, "Look, that guy looks like your dad, Henry Chapman." And Myrtle Koppel would, be like, huh, I don't know, but probably like, yeah, it kind of does, But anyway, so as soon as Guerin heard this, he's like, "I know where she is." And so she had inherited the resemblance, and Guerin knew she was a natural for the portrait. And you know what? They do look, sometimes couples start to look kind of alike.
Absolutely.
But they do have a similar feel to them, and they and I love how they made them opposing, like they were sitting across the table from each other. The lighting is so similar in the photograph. And anyway, so Guerin convinced his grandmother to pose for a series of photographs with her head and hand in various positions to determine the best pose. Then he showed the photos to his father, who remarked that the lace tablecloth and the bowl of fancy fruit on the table were too refined. So apparently there had been a lace table. But glad they took that off. Otherwise it wouldn't look like they were at the same table.
No, that's great.
Guerin agreed and took a second series of photographs with his grandmother seated at a bare table, head bowed, and hands folded over an open Bible. The other items on the table were an antique pitcher and a wedge of cheese on a slicing board. So she has the cheese, he has the bread. Okay? The best picture was then airbrushed by a commercial artist to achieve a look similar to Grace. The lighting and all that, they airbrushed it a little bit. And then Guerin had the portrait copyrighted, and it was accepted by Dixon's, the guy who wanted it, for his store for distribution. Gratitude sold 10,000 copies in the first 2 years and has been popular ever since. So then Mrs. Koppel passed away in 1975. She remained quite unimpressed by the whole affair. She didn't care.
She didn't care, did she?
And when Mr. Dixon sent her one of the very first pictures produced, her only comment was, "Oh my goodness, what a beautiful frame."
Oh my Lanta, are you serious?
Sure did. And doesn't that just make her seem like she had such a beautiful and humble spirit?
Oh, absolutely.
About her to be so humbled as to just not even say anything at all about her own appearance and just be like, "Oh my, what a beautiful frame."
Oh my, what a beautiful frame. I bet she was a wonderful person.
Yes, I bet she was just a delightful person. And so that is the story of Grace and gratitude, and that is the connection to our viewing area. Is that the owner of the bookstore was from Centralia. This was his grandmother, and she lived in the area. Also, she's buried not too far from Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Yeah. How interesting is that?
Yes, fantastic. So next time you see Grace and Gratitude at the Country Closet, you might want to grab them.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw this out there. That's Grace and Gratitude. We're Grit and Gumption.
We are. We are Grit and Gumption. We should have a
We need to have
photo.
our portraits.
Yep. What do you do to show a picture of grit and gumption?
I don't know, but I'm going to be thinking about that.
Yeah.
We could be famous.
Yeah, we could.
Grit and gumption.
Or we could be rich. What if we sold like a bajillion copies of Grit and Gumption?
I would assume nothing less would happen.
I know. We certainly would. Then we could, buy old homes and turn them into bed and breakfasts.
Buy Sailor Springs. I wouldn't have to win the lottery, you guys.
No, you could just buy Sailor Springs, make it into the beautiful landscape that it used to be.
I know. Exactly.
Well, we just planned our entire future right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, grace, gratitude, grit, and gumption. It's happening.
It is happening. But you have another story to tell us.
I do.
Now, this is not connected to the story.
This is not connected to this, but I came across this, and I came across the Taylor family tragedies. And Beth had told me that it was definitely, they had done this on one of this family on the cemetery tour. It's very, very interesting. So I'm going to start this story.
In fact...
What?
We'll get into it. It's possible Ty Landreth, our producer, may have been in the skit. I don't remember.
Okay.
You start talking.
We're going to find out.
He can pipe up if he did it. Okay.
Jesse Mayfield Taylor, born in 1856 in Illinois, and Julia Holstead of Fairfield were married in 1876 and would move into a house on East 5th Street in Flora around 1901. Jesse was a bridge inspector for the B&O Railroad and would meet an untimely death at the age of 56 while working at this profession. Is it ringing a bell, Ty? Not yet.
Maybe it wasn't him.
Okay. He and fellow worker Harry Byer, also of Flora, were both killed on April 18th, 1912, when struck by a fast train.
It was the Van Heinings that did this.
That's right, it was the Van Heinings that did this one.
Yep.
This one, because it's like Taylor family tragedies, because it's like, this is the grand...
Their whole family had a sad story.
Story.
Tragedy after tragedy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
keep going.
take a quick commercial break, and then we come back, we'll talk about the Taylor family.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Royal King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and we are talking about the Taylor family that had a few tragedies in their lifetimes. Right now we're talking about Jesse Taylor and a co-worker, Harry Byer, also of Flora, who were killed on April 18th, 1912 when they were struck by a fast train. The accident occurred at Carlisle, where the pair had just finished testing a bridge near Huey on their inspection tour. They had boarded a motor car which ran on the tracks to run into Carlisle to catch a train back to Flora. A train was approaching them just east of Carlisle and sounded its whistle, but the couple on the motor car seemed engrossed with some defect on their car and did not see or hear the approaching train until it was too late.
What were they supposed to do, though?
I don't
What
know.
do you do in a situation like that? You're stuck on the track. You're on this car that's made for the track.
Yeah.
And you can't stop and get off.
No.
Or it would hit you faster.
Yeah.
And you can't go faster.
Yeah.
That's a bizarre situation.
According to witnesses who tried in vain to alarm the couple of the impending danger, both were killed almost instantly upon impact. That is such a scary thing. You know, there's been several train incidents, that have killed people around.
Oh gosh, we could do a whole show on that.
We really
because
actually
there's a lot
can.
of tracks around here and a lot of deaths.
Just why they were running the number 11's time as the train was several minutes late. I got to sneeze.
Okay. Oh, bless you.
Was never known.
Okay.
They were experienced railroad men. I got to sneeze again.
Oh, no. Allergies are catching up with her.
And probably knew the time to the minute of every train on the road.
That's what I was going to say. Like,
so this train was
this.
not supposed to be there, yeah.
I wonder if the guy driving the train got in trouble.
I don't know. Possibly some defect in their motor car had delayed them, causing them to be on the track at such a perilous time. It was said that Jesse Taylor was exceptionally amiable to his fellow man, honest, upright, fair-minded, and generous, with his Christian life above reproach.
Aww.
To the union of Jesse and Julia Taylor were born 5 children.
Oh, wow. So he had a wife and 5 kids at home.
Yes. Fred, Bessie, Ernest, Earl, and Anna. And now the person I'm going to talk to about these 5 children, I'm going to talk about Earl Taylor, who was a tremendous businessman in Flora.
Okay.
One of Earl's first business ventures would be his partnership with another young man by the name of Fred Cunningham. Taylor was around 20 years of age when he and Cunningham started their general store, which would grow into a big success, adding green vegetables, fruits, and meats to their inventory. To get their start, they had bought out the stock of groceries of D.F. Hodges.
Okay.
Their sharp and honest business knowledge allowed them to increase their volume steadily, and they catered to the best trade in Flora and surrounding areas. So Earl turned out to be this wonderful businessman. Earl Taylor would eventually acquire his own business and become a prominent Flora grocer and businessman. He and his wife, Grace, had 2 children, David Earl and Juliet Victoria.
Oh, I love the name, Juliet Victoria.
Well, Juliet died in infancy.
Oh.
And David would grow to adulthood. This is where it gets kind of crazy.
Okay.
Earl and his family would later live in the same house on East 5th Street where his parents had lived.
I'm starting to wonder if it's the house. Is it cursed?
I don't know.
East 5th. I wonder which one it is.
On East 5th. Well, I've got a picture of it somewhere. I'm going to go by there and look at it later.
Okay.
Where his parents lived, moving there around 1926. Like his father, he would also die a tragic death at the age of 54. Just 2 years younger than his father had been at his death. So his father died at 56 by train, and this man died at 54. That's like 2 years younger than me. The year was 1940, and as the Halloween season was approaching, the city of Flora was making preparations to celebrate the occasion with the customary parade and decorative storefront.
Oh, yeah.
So around this time, Earl decided to do his part dressing up his store. This is, I still can't even hardly handle this. This one's kind of crazy to me.
It is.
He left his business around 10 a.m. one morning, telling the clerks he would be back by noon. He was going to Charlie Brown Park. We all know where that's at, west of Flora.
Mm-hmm.
And assuring that he would be back by noon. Okay, so he is clerk Sam Lauterbach and Norton Bowman would later testify to the time Earl left the store for the park and thinking that he would be back by noon. This is a businessman. Business people don't just leave their stores all day long. They are there working them all day long. Okay. When noon came and went and Mr. Taylor had not returned to his store or home, relatives and friends became alarmed and began to search for him. It was later in the afternoon that the caretaker of the park, Charlie Brown Park, George Gull, noticed an oil slick on the surface of the lake at the park. So we're talking that little lake right there at Charlie Brown Park. He notified police and was ordered by them to search the lake, which he did. He located the submerged car with his oars under the water on the west edge of the lake. So immediately they called in a wrecker, and the wrecker pulled out the car with Earl Taylor still in his car. So
I think this happened not too far from where the gazebo is.
I agreed, yeah, because it would be on the west end. Okay, so they pulled it out, and he was passed away.
He went out there to collect leaves.
Collect leaves.
He was going to collect the beautiful leaves that were falling and use them in the front window display at the store to decorate for fall.
And somehow his
car slid into gear.
I don't know.
I think he probably didn't put it in he had it in neutral or something, and it started to slide in. He jumped back in to try to put it in gear, but he ended up going in with the car. And you know, once you're underwater, it's something about the pressure. You can't get the windows to roll and the doors to open. I think he got trapped.
And that's, Charlie Brown Park's not, it's just a little lake right there. There was an inquest, and it was said that it was a total accidental. It was drowning. So he probably got trapped in his car somehow and couldn't. Because how deep is Charlie Brown Park's?
They drained it not that very long ago, and it was not that deep.
It's not that deep, and you're talking mud. He could have got his door stuck, something about the pressure, windows wouldn't roll down. So this wonderful man was drowned in his car at Charlie Brown Park. He was a city councilman. He was a member of the First Methodist Church, and he is buried in Elmwood Cemetery. He was such a prominent businessman that the day that his funeral was done, and that was it was like funerals like all at one thing, every business in city limits shut down.
Wow.
They shut down.
That says a lot about his character, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Every business in Florida shut down, and they said it was a very large attended funeral because he was such a good man, comes from, and
How sad.
And so that was the year was, what did I say?
1940, I think.
1940. Grace lived to be, she died in 1971. So she lived 31 years later, and then his wife Grace passed away. And they're all buried out at Elmwood Cemetery.
Wow.
But isn't that?
Yeah, how sad.
Yeah. Yeah, you just sit there and but you wouldn't think, and I would imagine it was, it's hilly right there. He probably parked it. It probably, put it neutral, went down. Holy cow, jumped in the car. The next thing you know, and cars were heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy back then. They would have just probably sunk right to the ground.
Oh, right.
His picture, I didn't send a picture in a tie, but he looks familiar. He had his son. David Earl lived to be, I don't know. We would probably, I don't know about David Earl, though I think they're all gone now because I looked him up. And I was surprised because sometimes when you look up on Find a Grave, you get there's a lot of information on Find a Grave.
Sometimes not.
Sometimes there's huge. I was really expecting more. And the picture on Find a Grave, it was a lot younger man, but what a great person.
Yeah, what a sad story. But next time you're at Charlie Brown Park, take a moment to remember a great man and business leader in our town that passed away way too early.
Yeah.
So very sad.
It is sad. Young guy.
Yeah. That's too bad.
But they were prominent business people, and they were in business with other folks, and then he went out on his own, and
very sad deal.
Yeah, very, very sad deal.
Yep. Okay.
But we've talked about two very interesting things
today.
today.
That was interesting. Yeah. What do you have to end the show with? You got a quote to live by, a rule to live by? What do you got?
Let's go with this one from Cavett Robert. Cavett, that's an interesting name.
That's weird.
That's an interesting. Life is a grindstone, and whether it grinds you down or polishes you up is for you and you alone to decide.
Oh, that's
wow.
Good. There's a lot of people that need to think about that one. You can either grind you down or polish you up.
Wow, boy, those are some interesting words, aren't they?
Cavett knew what he was talking about.
He did.
Cavett, C-A-V-E-T-T.
Yeah,
that's
Cavett.
a different. For those of you that are having a baby that want something different,
I like it.
At first I said it was weird, but I kind of do like
Cavett.
it. Cavett.
Cavett, I like it.
Cavett.
That's a neat name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, life is a grindstone, and whether it grinds you down or polishes you up, it's for you. I mean, I just feel like in the world that we live in, I mean, we live in a world where nobody takes their own responsibility, and you know how it goes, but everything. But man, I mean, the world is your oyster.
It sure is.
It sure is. You can really, and those of us that are blessed to live in the United States of America, kings of capitalists, you can literally do anything in this country you set your mind to.
You sure can.
Depends on what choices you make. We all make choices.
Yep.
Your life is the choices you make. Now, are there times when something, some people can affect other people's, but for the most part, starting out.
Yep, good words to live by there.
Good words to live by.
Anyway,
get polished.
So that's the end of our show for today. But as always, you can find us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is By the Way with Beth and Stacey. You can also email us at bytheway@gmail.com. Send us in show ideas, comments, questions. We would be happy to talk to you. Also, you can like and follow us on Facebook. We have our own Facebook page. It's called By the Way with Beth and Stacey. And that's a great way to keep up with what we've got going on. And I think that is it. So
I think so.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
God bless you, and have a great day.